What's up, everyone? DKRACK here. So it's official, guys. Christmas is exactly 1 week away. I am recording this reaction on December 18th, Saturday. So thought I would go ahead and check out Mr. Nightmare's newest video, 3 disturbing true Christmas horror stories. You know, every year Mr. Nightmare uploads a couple creepy, scary Christmas videos. So I'm excited to check this out. 3 disturbing true Christmas horror stories by Mr. Nightmare. Like always, guys, I'll have a link to the original video down below. Make sure and go show Mr. Nightmare some support. But let's go ahead and check out 3 disturbing true Christmas horror stories. All right, guys, here we go.
It was a cold December night a week before Christmas. My family always does Christmas in our Hamptons, New York summer house. The Hamptons are always quiet this time of year, as a large chunk of the real estate there is owned by rich people.
The Hamptons, somewhere I've never been because I'm not rich.
Who have 2 or 3 other houses elsewhere in the country.
Gee, yeah, rich people.
My dad and I were at the house first before the rest of my family, as my mom and sister still had work until the next weekend. My dad was retired at the time, and school was over for winter break for me, so we wanted to just go to the Hamptons
I love Christmas
house early.
music.
We all have our own
even the
bedrooms in
creepy
this house,
stuff,
which sits on a quiet dead-end road. My dad turned on the heat and water and all that stuff that he always has to take care of when we return for the first time in months. I brought my PS3 to play in my room. I spent most of the first day there playing video games. On that first night we were there was a big snowstorm. Another reason we wanted to come early, to beat the crappy road conditions that would come for days after the storm.
Oh, fun.
The next morning when I woke up and went out to the kitchen.
I know that all too well here, living in northern Illinois. Snow in the winter. We get a crap ton of snow normally. We haven't got any snow yet this year, but I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's on its way. Hopefully we get some snow for Christmas, though. Fingers crossed.
My dad asked me when I built a snowman. I responded, "What do you mean?" He said the snowman in the backyard. I went to look out the window, and there was at least 2 feet of fresh snow. But there was also a snowman sitting in our backyard.
So some random person
angled up into the air, and it had eyes and a smile
just
carved into the head.
Made a snowman in the
eyes
yard?
and mouth side was facing the window. I said to my dad, "I didn't build that." My dad laughed and said, "Must be the neighbor kids." My dad thought it was an innocent joke, so I did as well. The next night is where things got bad, though.
It's evil. It's evil Frosty the Snowman. Snowmans aren't scary by themselves, but a random snowman just popping up in property you own or your yard that you didn't build or your kids didn't build, that's a little random and creepy. Like, where the hell did that snowman come from?
I was in bed asleep and suddenly woke up to a distinct thump on my window. I was terrified.
No.
I pulled the blankets over myself to hide, to not be in view of whoever might be out there.
It's the snowman.
But after 5 minutes, I started to wonder maybe it was snow that fell off the roof and blew into the window.
The snowman's gonna be in the frickin' window.
Out the window. I screamed because at first I thought what I saw was a person, but it was actually another snowman standing right outside my window.
Another one?
An
what?
Angry frown on this one instead of a smiling face. I screamed for my dad, and he came rushing inside. I pointed at the window, and this time he wasn't happy. He said he would go next door in the morning and talk to the kids' parents. I slept in my sister's room the rest of that night. The next morning, my dad went next door and rang the bell, but they weren't home. There were no cars in the driveway.
They weren't even freaking home? Yo.
That was the only nearby house with kids in it, so this didn't exactly help explain the situation. For 5 or 6 days straight, nothing else happened until Christmas Eve night. The rest of our immediate family, plus all 4 of our grandparents, were now in the house. We were in the living room. This was before dinner, but it was already dark out. Someone knocked on the front door instead of using the doorbell. We weren't expecting any other family. I started to get nervous. My dad went over and asked, "Who is it?" Someone on the other side of the door started saying, "Please."
I know this is random. Is it just me, or does this picture right here that Mr. Nightmare used kind of look like Michael and Bridget's front room? The same wall there, the doors in the back, except their TV's above I don't know if they have a fireplace. This looks like Michael and Bridget's front room, kind of. There's even like the side door right there. It's kind of weird. It's just a house that looks similar, I'm sure. It's not probably their home, but that's kind of... Let me know if you guys see. Am I just seeing things, or does that look like Michael and Bridget, kid behind the camera's house a little bit?
Let me in. I need help. The door has no peephole or
Let me in. I need help.
Nor are there
What?
any windows that would allow us to see who was on the other side of the door. My dad asked what's wrong, and the voice on the other side said, I have no one to spend Christmas with. Please help me. We all looked at each other now, and my dad yelled to please leave before we call the police. The person on the other side said, okay, I'll leave. Please don't call the police. He never opened the door. We instantly tied this to the creepy snowman. We knew it had to be connected. And we were right.
That's sad. That's sad and disturbing at the same time. Please help. I have no one to spend Christmas with. That's sad, but at the same time, you can't open your door to a complete stranger. You don't know what they're capable of or what the hell they're going to do to you or your family. Like, it's kind of sad though, but I would do the same thing. I'd say, you have to leave. I'm not going to put my family at risk and let you in my house, you know?
On Christmas morning, there was a note taped to our front door.
Did he come back? What?
I just wanted to have a little fun. I built the snowman for the boy in the house. I don't have anyone to spend the holiday with. Hurt. In one way or another, I think whoever left that note on our door and built those two snowmen was mentally ill or unstable.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely that it was meant to be a joke, considering he came to our front door.
That's very...
I think he was dangerous.
Very weird.
He wasn't inherently hostile. The fact that he did what he did is just enough for him to be considered somebody none of us wanted to meet.
Yeah, you can't risk it with your family. Story 2.
It was Christmas of 2016. My name is Andre, and at the time I was 21 years old. Our family was all at our Uncle Joshua's place for the holidays. Well, it was Christmas Eve. My immediate family, plus my cousins and other close family, decided let's go to my uncle and aunt's place in downtown Miami. We come from Connecticut,
snow in
so we're not
Miami,
used to
I
warm
bet.
weather around the holidays. It was Friday, the day before Christmas Eve. My brother Nico and I, being young single males and being in Miami, wanted to go out. We were hearing about a bunch of Christmas-themed
And
parties
find
going
the
on
ladies.
in clubs and bars. Nico was 18 at the time, but he had a fake ID, so we figured he'd be all right. We went to this one club on Miami Beach that was having a Christmas-themed event. Mostly everyone online was wearing Santa hats, so it felt festive. But it was all a waste of time because at the front of the line, the bouncer not only told us it would be $100 to get in, but he also called Nico out on his fake ID.
$100?
So we tried a bar not too far
Jeez.
away, and we got into this one. There were some people wearing Santa hats here too. I guess that was expected on the weekend of Christmas. While we were at the bar, this older woman started talking to Nico. I overheard most of their conversation. The woman appeared to be mid-40s, and I heard her keep telling my brother how she has such a thing for younger guys with Hispanic accents. To be honest, it sounded kind of creepy and weird, but Nico was probably blinded by the fact that a woman was hitting on him. I just let him do his thing. The woman was wearing a blue Santa hat and had on a sexually provocative Christmas sweater. The two of them...
Be careful, bro. This woman could be working for who knows who, and she just tries to lure men from the bar, and then she has a bunch of her buddies outside who beat the crap out of you and take your wallet, your phone, rob your ass. I don't know if the story's going that way, but the woman could just be there to lure men out and then other people rob them. Just an idea, you know.
were talking for so long that I ended up making friends with the guy sitting next to me at the bar. Then suddenly Nico patted me on my shoulder and said he's gonna leave with the woman. I told him all right.
Are you stupid, bro? No.
I stayed at the bar not much longer after that. Then I just called an Uber back to my uncle's, assuming Nico would be spending the night with the woman.
Let me guess, like a day or two goes by and they can't find Nico. He just freaking disappeared. Oh no.
I was mid-Uber ride when my phone rang. Nico was calling me. I picked up to static. It sounded as though maybe he pocket dialed me, but I heard a male's voice in the background.
I knew
didn't
it.
sound like my brother.
I knew it.
And then
I
suddenly
told you
another
guys.
male's voice could be heard yelling. I said Nico's name over and over, trying for acknowledgement, but the call eventually disconnected. Obviously, this was a pretty concerning phone call.
They're either going to rob Nico or they're going to say, we want this much money, or Nico's going to disappear. They kidnapped his ass, I bet.
I was under the impression he was alone with a woman.
Oh my God.
I tried calling him like 10 times, and finally someone picked up.
This is not good.
But it wasn't Nico. It was the voice of some older man with an extremely deep voice. When I asked who this was, he said he found this phone on the sidewalk. I asked him if he could drop the phone off at my uncle's place or if he could meet me somewhere.
He found the phone? What?
I just heard talking in the background, and then I heard screaming.
He didn't find the phone. The guy's with Nico, I guarantee it.
It was Nico's voice in the background, screaming my name, screaming help. Then the call disconnected. I asked the Uber driver to pull over, as I was freaking out trying to call anyone in my family. It was late, no one was picking up. I explained the situation to the driver, and he advised I call the police immediately. That's what I did. The police came to my uncle's place, where I woke my family up, informing them that Nico was in trouble. I had to give my best description of the woman's appearance from the bar and what time he left the bar. Then my dad and I, along with the police, went to the bar that we were at, and it was then that I got a phone call from a random number.
Scary, man.
Nico. He was out of breath, gasping into the phone, explaining that he was kidnapped and barely escaped. He was currently using a stranger's phone. All of us went to Nico's
He was
location,
able to escape? Oh my God, yo.
When we found him, his face was a bloody mess. He had 2 black eyes, and all of his possessions that he had on him were stolen.
Are you kidding me?
He gave his whole story. He left with the woman who claimed to have called an Uber or Lyft. When the alleged ride arrived at their pickup point, which was in some quiet back alley area, Nico found out once inside the car that it wasn't in fact an Uber. It was a trap.
Guys, did I not call it? I literally called it. I swear I have not watched this new Mr. Nightmare video. I said the woman's a decoy. She's going to lure Nico out of the bar. Some random car is going to pull up with 2 or 3 men in there. They're going to kidnap him, take his wallet, his phone, rob his ass, then try to kidnap him. But it sounds like Nico was able to escape. There was like 2 or 3 red flags right off the bat. Nico needs to think with this head and not his other head, if you guys know what I mean. There was like 2 or 3 red flags. A random woman. Their Uber was going to pick them up in a dark back alley. No, too many red flags. That woman was not worth almost losing your freaking life.
There were 2 men in the car who immediately held him down and threatened to shoot him if he didn't keep quiet. They started to drive for a while, and during this time, one of the men called my number and they threatened to harm him if he yelled out anything, which he did, and that explained the bloody face and black eyes. They broke his phone, took his wallet, keys, and whatever else was on him. As the car was stopped and he wasn't being held down anymore, he ran for it out of the car. They didn't chase him, the car just sped off and disappeared. He said he believed they were going to kill him and dump his body somewhere if he didn't run. Police apparently were never able to identify the woman who appeared in the video footage from the bar. Nico said none of the men were wearing masks, more of a reason he thought they'd kill him. This completely ruined the entire holiday weekend, but we were all just happy he was alive. On Christmas night, we were all awoken to Nico's screams in the middle of the night. He was screaming, "She's in the house." I woke him up from whatever nightmare he was having. I have to say though, him screaming "she's in the house" made me think back to her creepy smile. And made me
Nico's gonna have frickin' PTSD now for the rest of his life. He was kidnapped and almost frickin' murdered. That's not a joke.
Sleep with one eye open.
Oh my God. And that's a true story, according to the person who sent that to Mr. Nightmare. That actually happened. That's crazy.
I bought a small house with my brother George a couple years back. We hosted Christmas the first year we lived in the house, just as a way of getting the family to see the place and getting everyone together for the first time in forever. We don't have the biggest family in the world, so it was the 2 of us, our parents, our aunt and uncle, cousin, and our sister and 2 nephews. Our sister came with our nephews and her husband first to help us out with the cooking and preparing. They brought their dog Mika along as well. Since they lived 2 hours away, they were going to be spending the night at our house. The rest of our family lives under an hour away, so they wouldn't be staying. Not that that house would have much more room for additional people staying over anyway. During our Christmas dinner,
that's a beautiful
at one point
house.
we talked about some of the murders that happened in our area
snowy.
recently. Bodies had been found in the woods in our county. It wasn't a topic that
There a freaking serial killer on the loose where these people lived? Yo, that'd make me paranoid. Make sure your windows and doors are locked for sure.
kept going long, as our mom and my sister wanted us to drop it for the sake of the holiday and the kids. After dinner, we all had some wine in the living room with a Christmas movie on in the background as we talked. After a few hours, the family started to slowly leave, until it was just my brother and I, and my sister, her husband, and her kids. The kids went to bed before us. The four of us stayed up later having more wine. My girlfriend ended up coming over past 10 to spend the rest of the night with me, since all of her family had gone home. Eventually, Christmas night was over, and it was time to go to bed.
Time to go to sleep.
I woke up to my girlfriend shaking me. The room was still dark. I groggily looked at the clock next to my bed, and it said 2-something a.m. I asked my girlfriend what the issue was.
Don't tell me the serial killer's there. Yo.
I listened and heard Mika out in the hall growling. I got out of bed and entered the hall to see what was going on.
Is there someone in the freaking house?
The back door to our house was wide open, and a breeze of cold air started.
Are people idiots? Did they not make sure their freaking doors are locked, or did this person break into the break the door down? Not break the door down, but somehow found a way to open the lock to the back door.
Started to hit me in the face. Mika was looking out the door. I checked if anyone was out there, and as I was at the back door, I heard my brother's voice call out my name from the darkness outside. He sounded like he was far away in the woods. I was worried he was in trouble or needed help with something. I went back to my room to tell my girlfriend as I put my shoes and coat on. I stepped outside with a flashlight. There was a light dusting of snow on the ground, enough to see footmarks leading from the back door down to the back deck towards the woods.
Towards the woods? Oh, hell no.
I heard his voice call back my name.
The dude went in the woods.
It was confirmed he was in the woods now. But oddly, as I entered the woods, his footprints slowly faded and got harder to see until they were just impossible to continue following entirely. I screamed back at the top of my lungs, "Where are you? What's wrong?" I once again heard George's voice call back just my name. Every time he called me, his voice was the same distance away. I was uncomfortable getting any further away from my house because I didn't want to get lost in the woods.
With a potential serial killer? Hell no.
I continued a little further into the woods, but now George's yelling stopped. As much as I yelled out into the woods, there was dead silence. Not even the sound of a bug in the freezing cold. Just the sound of the light breeze. And suddenly my phone rang. I was hopeful it was George, but it was my girlfriend. I picked up, and she said, "Chet, George is in his bedroom right now."
What? Yeah, what? No.
I was hearing his voice this entire time in the woods.
Maybe this is something paranormal if he's hearing George's voice, but George is in bed? What the hell?
I asked her to check if my sister's husband was also still on one of the pull-out couches, and 30 seconds later, she said yes. Suddenly, I felt like I wasn't alone in the woods. Like anyone was about to grab me from any direction.
Dude, get the hell out of the woods
turned back the way
now.
I came and started running as fast as I could. I didn't stop until I saw the backyard light from my house becoming more visible through the trees. I made it back to my house, and everyone was awake now. George and everyone else had a look of horror on their faces when I explained that Mika was growling, looking at the wide open back door, and the fact that there were footprints leading into the woods. But the scariest part was
what the actual hell?
That the voice I was hearing was that of George, and whoever it was knew my name. We contemplated calling the police for half an hour and then ended up doing so. A police officer came and just asked us any questions like if anything was stolen, if we know anyone that may mean us harm, etc. Then within half an hour, and after telling us to call back if anything else happens, he left. I don't know if I think this had anything to do with the murders that were going on at this time in our county.
That's so...
I did think it was worth mentioning in the story.
So weird.
Nothing else did ever happen after that night, but we can't for the life of us logically explain any of this. I'm still scared to go in or near the woods past dark.
I can't explain that last story either. It sounded like George's voice, but George was in bed. Like, what the hell? But all right, guys, this was 3 disturbing true Christmas horror stories. A nice scary Christmas video for Christmas just right up around the corner. I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. If you did, make sure and smash the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. Leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, peace.